Hello and welcome to our weekly boxing chat on Sky Sports News. I'm Andy Scott and joining me this week is former world champion Barry Jones and one of British boxing's rising stars, the Romford Bull, Johnny Fisher. Great to have you with us, especially because it is fight week for you. So you've just completed a couple of media duties, done a face-off with your opponent, Alan Babic. Very exciting for you. What are we looking forward to this weekend and what do you need to do to beat Mr. Babic?
Definitely, thanks Andy. Yep, we've had a really good solid training camp. I started it off sparring with Filip Hrgovic in Texas. Whoa. And it sort of rolled into, hang on, we can fight Babic in July time, and it's been brilliant. And the hard work's done. This is the fun part where I get to show what I've done in camp, and it's time to go.
You're on this great run of form at the moment, and it wasn't lost on us, the 2023 Best Young Boxer of the Year at the Boxing Writers Club. It's such a prestigious award, the likes of Barry McGuigan, Frank Bruno, Nigel Benn, Joe Kawasaki. You think that's sort of a nod from your peers that things are going in the right direction for you? I mean, originally it was, he's a ticket seller, he's got a bit of a social media presence. Now I think the whole narrative has changed. People are, certainly from our side, I wonder if you agree, feels like people are taking you seriously and so they should. Definitely,
and that was an honour to win that award. The names that have been mentioned there, it's just a privilege to be mentioned among them. And yeah, I'm a ticket seller, I still am, and I always will be. But people see from my previous fights, I think back to the fight in August for the Southern Area title, people in the boxing world probably didn't give me too much of a chance there or thought, oh, Johnny's going to get found out here by a tricky boxer in Harry Armstrong. But I showed that I can box a bit as well, and I've got that knockout power, and that's what people want to watch. When you're a heavyweight boxer, people want to be entertained. And one thing to be sure of when you fight me is everyone who comes to watch is going to be entertained.
Yeah, I would agree with everything that you said there. In terms of Alan Babic, I don't think Alan will mind me saying this, you kind of know what you're going to get. It's what it says on the tin. He's hard work, he can whack in his own right, and he's going to be in your face. You would think from the first bell, he's got one blip on his record where he chose not to do that and he came unstuck. So you'd think he will revert to type and he'll be on your chest or trying to get there.
I think so. That's where he's got to feel like he's safe, but I don't think it's a very safe or wise thing to do, stand right in front of me, because I can whack myself a lot harder than he can. I'm bigger, I'm faster, I'm fresher. And I've got a great team with Mark Tibbs and Jimmy Tibbs behind me. We've been working on a game plan, and the game plan will be put into use, but I know if it has to revert to type, we both revert to type. I'm the bigger and stronger and the better warrior in there.
Let me bring Barry Jones in. That all sounds right to me. We've seen what Babic brings to the table. What are the dangers that Babic presents? And if you were advising Johnny Fisher, how would you approach that?
Well, sometimes when you've got a fighter who's naturally smaller than you, they'll come in low. And that makes you stand taller than you want to at times. And that's the opportunity then for them to come in low and then swing the big shots over the top. So someone comes in towards your waist, if you will, you'll lean back and stand a little bit too tall, and then you're a target to be hit. But I think what we've seen with Johnny recently, I think, and it's been quite quickly, I think the change, is showing that he can box. He can punch, and being right-hand happier in your career, there's nothing wrong with that. But at some point, you have to learn your trade. And well, like we say with heavyweights, it's about what you do in the gym. They learn more in the gym early in their careers than any other fighter. That development has to be done there. The fight's in the ring, we just want to see him knock people out. But as long as you're doing the right stuff in the gym, when you do take the step up, you're ready. And I think his boxing ability now has been either improved or we're getting a chance to see it. His jab's a better weapon than it used to be, I think, for me now. And I think, and not panicking when he's been put under pressure. All that bodes well for him against someone like Babic, who will have to try and force the pace. There's no other way he can win. But with that, there's a chance that he has to walk into that jab. I think, and I think you give him the jab constantly in the face to Babic and force Babic to work around that. And with that, there's an uppercut there that Johnny can catch him with.
I think there's an argument that you are Britain's best ticket seller. I think that's a legitimate argument that you've got. But ticket sellers aren't necessarily just born. You don't just get an army of fans. I mean, for you, it is the Bosch Army. Where did the Bosch Army start, and how much are they, to coin a football phrase, like a 12th man in football? Fans want to be entertained, but at the same time, you have to grow that fan base.
Well, especially in the current economic climate, I'm very grateful that people spend their hard-earned money to come and watch me fight, not only in England, but we brought an army over to Las Vegas to watch over there as well. It was brilliant. But
yeah, poor Vegas.
I think back to my amateur fights, and I was fighting in Exeter University, and I was selling 500, 600 tickets there in small venues, Essex boys and girls coming down, the rugby boys from Exeter, and even my fourth and fifth fight before the Bosch phenomenon and Big John came about.
Who's your dad, Big John?
Big John and the Chinese and all that stuff. Before even that, I was selling 2,500 tickets at Ali Pali, the O2, and my dad's been a massive help sell the tickets. He still does it old-fashioned way with pen and paper, writing them all down, and that's only going to help me grow. But boxing needs personalities as well. You look at people like Ben Whittaker, people like that. You need people who are going to make people tune in, make people be entertained, and it's more than just the fight. The boxing's the most important thing, but you want to give people a good day out. You want them to remember and make good friends along the way. And the Bosch Army is about the community as well. And we like to do things in the community. We've done something with Limehouse Boxing Club recently. And you want to give little bits back in the sport as well. And that's what boxing's one of the best sports at. Everyone's humble. Everyone looks out for one another. And that's what legacy I do want to leave when I leave this sport, about boxing being something for everyone.
Amen. That's a great message, and we echo that. I look at Fabio Wardley and Fraser Clark as top of the domestic tree at the moment. How far away do you feel like you could be from that level? We hope and pray that they're going to rematch. But how far away realistically do you think that you are from that level? Well,
I remember watching that fight, and what a fantastic fight that was. I sparred both of them, Fabio and Fraser. I know them both well. And to be in that mix, that's where I aspire to be. I aspire to be at that level. I think I could go and do a good job now and have a good chance in there. I'm always going to back myself, but with the next 2-3 fights ahead of me, I think that will only put me in a better position, and it would be an honour to share the ring with them two guys in the not too distant future.
Well, I love this quote from Fraser Clark. So it's a tweet that's doing the rounds, but he said, "I think Johnny Fisher has slept on a little bit. I think he's very good. No one needs to rush him, but do I think he could get in there with myself and Fabio now?" Then he uses some words, but absolutely is the message. He's a hard fight for anybody. That's a pretty good nod of approval, isn't it? I think heavyweights do a lot of their development behind closed doors in sparring. And then if you listen to the sparring stories, Johnny Fisher is going around and doing the right thing and learning his trade and giving these guys good work. That's where these tweets are coming from.
He could step in the ring tomorrow, Saturday, and they could substitute Babic with Wardley or Clark, and it's a good fight to watch. But why would you want to rush it? I think there's an eagerness now to want to rush everybody. Give him another year or longer. I mean, he won't want that. He want to fight them anyone as soon as he can. But you don't need to rush it. There's longevity in this sport for a young man like him. And I think it's important that he gets the right fights. There's competitive fights with undefeated fighters that he could have right now before he gets to those.
And as Barry says, there's an appetite now. Everything wants to be rushed. Social media is a great tool. It's been brilliant for me. We've grown a massive army just through being ourselves, and people have bought into it. But that doesn't mean you can skip the process of becoming a proper, well-schooled professional boxer.
Well, you can skip it. You can skip it. But at some point, it comes back to bite you.
Yeah, you've got to build the foundations of what you are. That's done, as you said, through sparring, through travelling to Texas or going to Las Vegas and sparring and fighting in different environments. And I want to give myself the best chance in this game. So when I do get to that level, I stay there and I go beyond it.
What I want to ask you, while we've got you, is it's an exciting time in the heavyweights. Last week, Wednesday, we saw the press conference for that huge heavyweight showdown, world title fight between Anthony Joshua and the now champion Daniel Dubois. You've sparred Daniel Dubois. You know Anthony Joshua very well, like the rest of us. Your initial thoughts on that when that fight was made?
Well, I sparred Daniel Dubois many rounds, many times. One thing's for sure, he can seriously punch. Probably the hardest puncher I've been in with. So when he fights Anthony Joshua, that's something he's got to look out for. If I'm thinking about it and with my tactical mind, I think Anthony Joshua is the favourite. He's got that bit more tactical nous. We know how good he is with his counter right hands from fighting people like, I know he's a southpaw, but Charles Martin, even in Ngannou, he showed how powerful his right hand is and how well he can time it. So that's something Dubois' got to look out for. But who knows, if Dubois turns up and catches him early, you can get a few of them feelings of back a year, 2 years ago when Joshua was with Ruiz. It can affect you, them sort of things, you know.
Do you think that Daniel Dubois mentally has turned a corner in his last two performances against Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgović, particularly the Hrgović fight? Yep, it's worrying that he took so many right hands early on, and you would think sensibilities will tell you that he can't take those right hands off of Anthony Joshua, but he did come through it against the odds.
Yeah, I think the Miller fight was important, where that was the first time I've seen him get tired and push through that wall, if you will. And on the other side of that was more energy, your second win we call it. But up until that point, the two stoppages where he quit, and that's what happened. He was tired and he panicked, I think. But you've got to realise that you are going to get tired. But if you've done the work in the gym, you've got to believe in yourself that you can get through that tired period and come through the other side. And now he's done that. Then fast forward to the Hrgovic fight, and he boxed at a higher pace. Okay, he took too many shots for my liking, but he made Hrgovic work hard. And Hrgovic doesn't like to work at a pace like that. And then in the end, he was dominant. So I think he's coming in now full of confidence. But against someone like Joshua, who has a lovely smooth rhythm to his work, his jab is superb, Anthony Joshua's, and he's another guy who's full of confidence right now. After started with Hellenius when he threw the punch, and then he moved on, of course, to Otto Wallin, and then that crunching knockout with Francis Ngannou. He's a guy now who I'd never seen him mentally in a better place.
Frank Warren came on last week. Do you both sit there and, in a word, does this fight end inside the distance either way? Can you see this fight going the distance, or is this a knockout?
It's a knockout for me.
I think that's what it lends itself to, but I wouldn't be surprised if Joshua shows them boxing skills and boxes on the back foot. But the logical answer is, with these two massive punches in the ring, it's not going to go longer than 10, 11 rounds. It won't break the bell. No,
under that Wembley arch, it's going to be special.
Yeah.
We're running out of time, but I'm just going to say, we discuss it at length on the podcast about the undercard fights. Buatsi Hutchinson is perhaps the one that stole the headlines, but not at the press conference. They got into it at the media day. That looks like a tricky fight on paper. We're looking at it now, Barry, and you do think when they get to this point, they're probably not going to exchange Christmas cards and phone numbers. I mean, there's an inevitability about what happens here, but it has sparked, it sparked something in Buatsi.
It's the perfect dance pattern for Buatsi. We know skillfully is how good he can be, but we haven't seen him with the bit between his teeth. I don't think, as a professional, so someone like Willie Hutchinson can get under your skin, already has. I think that we see the best of Buatsi, and I think we do need to see, at this point now of Buatsi's career, as good as he's been, we want to see that X factor we saw in the Olympics. That might take him, or should take him, to world honours.
Well, there's plenty more boxing stars in our studio coming your way. Join us again on Thursday afternoon, when we'll be joined by undefeated Commonwealth middleweight champ Hamza Shiraz. He's live on set. Shiraz's next fight is on the undercard for this huge bout. Anthony Joshua takes on Daniel Dubois under the Wembley arch, live on Sky Sports box office. The date for your diary is Saturday the 21st of September. Before I let you go, on the podcast we asked the question, is Jesse Bam Rodriguez already a guaranteed Hall of Famer at just 24 years old? Barry gives us his answer to that. Shakur Stevenson also live boxing on Sky Sports this weekend, 1 a.m. But Johnny, before you go, just your final message ahead of your fight at the weekend.
Thank you to everyone who supports me. We're going to have 7,000 strong in a copper boxes sold out. And don't expect anything less than fireworks and a nice Chinese after.
There you go. And I think you could probably go to Big John's social media to find out the order. If you don't know it by now, where have you been?
On the menu.
There you've been. That's all we've got time for this week. My thanks to Barry and Johnny. Remember to download the Toe to Toe podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. We'll see you next Tuesday with more special boxing guests.